Namaste students, my name is JV'n Dr. Neeraj Dholia, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, Jayoti Vidhyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. Today we are going to discuss biodiversity conservation. So what is biodiversity conservation and how to do it? So this belongs to the subject ecology and evolution. So let's start. So we know that what is the biodiversity. In the previous lecture we have already discussed about the biodiversity. So to conserve that is the biodiversity conservation. So why should we conserve the biodiversity? What is the need? So there are many reasons, some obvious and others not so obvious, but all equally important. So they can be grouped into three categories: narrowly utilitarian, broadly utilitarian, and ethical. So the narrowly utilitarian arguments for conserving biodiversity are obvious. The human driven countless direct economic benefits from nature, like food. We get the cereals, pulses, fruits from the biodiversity. The firewood, that is firewood, fiber, construction material, industrial products like tannins, lubricant, dye, resins, perfumes, and products of medicinal importance. So more than 25% of the drugs currently sold in the market worldwide are derived from plants, and 25,000 species of plants contribute to the traditional medicines used by native peoples around the world. So nobody knows how many more medicinally useful plants there are in tropical rainforests waiting to be explored. So with increasing resources put into bioprospecting, nations endowed with rich biodiversity can expect to reap enormous benefits. So the broadly utilitarian argument says that biodiversity plays a major role in many ecosystem services that nature provides. Okay, so the fast dwindling Amazon forest is estimated to produce through photosynthesis 20% of total oxygen in the Earth atmosphere. Can we put an economic value on this service by nature? You can get some idea by finding out how much your neighborhood hospitals spend on a cylinder of oxygen. So the pollination in another is another service ecosystem provides through pollination layers, bees, um, bumblebees, birds, birds. Uh, so what will be the cost of accomplishing pollination without help from natural pollinators? So there are other intangible benefits that we derive from nature. The aesthetic pleasures of walking through thick woods, watching spring flowers in full bloom, or waking up to a bulbul song in the morning can be put a price tag on such things. So third is the ethical argument for conserving biodiversity relates to what we owe to millions of plant, animals, and microbe species with whom we share this planet. So philosophically or spiritually, we need to realize that every species has an intrinsic value, even if it may not be of current or any economic value to us. We have a moral duty to care for their well-being and pass on our biological legacy in good order to future generations. So how do we conserve the biodiversity? So there are two methods. When we conserve and protect the whole ecosystem, its biodiversity all at all levels is protected. We save the entire forest to save the tiger. This approach is called the in situ, means on-site conservation. So, however, when there are situations where an animal or plant is endangered or threatened and needs urgent measure to save it from extinction, ex situ or the off-site conservation is desirable approach. So let's talk about the in situ conservation. What is in situ conservation? So faced with the conflict between development and conservation, many nations find it unrealistic and economically not feasible to conserve all their biological wealth. Invariably, the number of species waiting to be saved from extinction far exceeds the conservation resource available. So, on a global basis, this problem has been addressed by eminent conservationists. They identified for maximum protection certain biodiversity hotspots, regions with very high level of species richness and high degree of endemism. So initially 25 biodiversity hotspots were identified, but subsequently 9 more have been added to this list, bringing the total number of biodiversity hotspots in the world to 34. Okay, so what is in situ conservation? This is the when we conserve, uh, we save the animals, birds, or the biodiversity in its natural place is known as the in situ conservation. And what about the ex situ conservation? So in this approach, certain animals or plants taken out from their natural habitat and they placed in special setting where they can be protected and given special care. So the zoological parks, botanical gardens, and wildlife safaris parks serves this purpose. So these are there are many animals that have become extinct in the wild but continue to be maintained in zoological parks. So in recent years, access to conservation has advanced beyond keeping threatened species in enclosures. Now, gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable or fertile conditions for long period using cryopreservation techniques. Eggs can be fertilized in vitro, and plants can be propagated using tissue culture methods. So they are not the in situ conservation; they are ex situ conservation. So hope you are satisfied with this detailed session. If you have any query, please write in the comment box. I will resolve that. And this session is powered by Digital Version 2, Jyoti Vidhyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Thank you.